people who are excited about my book. And I get to hang out with a rock star backstage. So if that doesn't encourage you, I don't know what will.
When is Midnight Sun going to be published?
Okay, I picked this one because I want you all to know that this may not happen right away. I have for the past 3 years been under deadlines. It's been rough. So I'm planning on sort of taking my time and writing when the spirit strikes. Now, it could mean that won't take very long at all. I wrote Twilight very quickly, but I don't want to make any promises. So I can't give exact dates on this, but when I have a workable rough draft and I have a better sense of how long, because the editing process is fairly standard, I'll be able to let you know when that's going to be.
Laura from Vancouver, Canada, had another one about the host. In The Host, when Kyle found Sunny Jody, why did he not feel the hatred and resentment that Jared felt towards Wanda?
See, that was just this really great specific host quote. Got me. The reason is because he knew Wanda, and even though he reacted pretty negatively to her himself, it let him view Sunny in a whole different perspective. And so he wasn't able to have that negative reaction because once you've been hanging out around his soul, it's kind of hard to see them in the same way.
Jen W. from Canada asks, what kind of Ferrari does Bella drive?
Such an easy answer. I wish all questions were that easy because really, can you drive anything other than the F430? Is there another Ferrari? I'm not aware. And it's red, just in case.
Another one from up north, Vancouver, BC. If the werewolves stay werewolves for as long as there's danger when they're around vampires, will Jake remain a werewolf forever?
It's the vampires being around that triggers the change, but after that, as long as they phase into a werewolf fairly frequently, I don't know, a couple times a month, then they don't age. They have to stop phasing completely for the aging to pick up again. So Jacob's pretty much good to go. He will not age.
This one comes from Salem, Oregon, Takara, I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name, I apologize. Why did you decide against having a bloodbath battle at the end of Breaking Dawn? She said, don't get me wrong, I'm glad everyone lived and had a happy ending, but there was so much built for the Volturi confrontation.
Right. This was something that I always knew was going to be that way, and I did try to put a few clues into the manuscript. The mention of the Merchant of Venice was deliberate to foreshadow a battle of the minds rather than a physical battle. I don't think I have it in me to write the Hamlet ending, where everything's bodies and there's one guy you don't know is standing there giving a monologue about how tragic it all was. That is so not me. And I knew that if the fight really got started, that there were not going to be very many people left standing on either side. And that, I wanted to win. I wanted a clear-cut win, and this was the way to do it.
Jane and Alex special in their human lives to warrant such a superbly powerful vampire team?
That's not a fun question. Okay, let's see. I'll try not to get too involved. So, Alec and Jane really, for all intents and purposes, in the Twilight universe would be considered witches when they were human. If you made Jane angry with you, even as a small child, bad things happened. It got more defined, though. Arrow was aware of the twins. He was very interested in acquiring them. So imagine his disapproval when the villagers decided to burn them at the stake. He interrupted that, and the village was no more. The being burned at the stake part sort of focused both their talents. Alec became all about no pain. That's where he was focusing. Whereas Jane learned to inflict that pain on others. So that's really how their talents developed. But they were talented before when they were human.
This one comes from Lissa. Out of all of Carlisle's nomadic vampire friends, which one is your favorite and why?
That's hard to answer. I mean, clearly I have a soft spot for Garrett, right? I really had fun kind of bringing in the vampire world with all of the range that was there. I really like Siobhan too. She's pretty cool. And then the Romanians, I just...
do you miss, or did you miss, her human quality?
One of the interesting things about the experience of writing about Bella as a vampire was that she really did lose some of her relatability for me, because at every point, up until that point in the story, I could say, I could step into the story right here and I could do everything she can do, which made it really this experience where you felt like you could be part of the book, because you knew, I could do that, you know, I could do what Bella does, I can trip. She wasn't like this super exotic person with magic powers. She was just Bella, and I like that. I knew she was going to be a vampire all along. I've known that. But, all these people, are you ever going to make her a vampire? And I couldn't just say yeah, but so I knew she was going to be a vampire, and I wanted to experience that and really get the sense of what that felt like. But at the same time, as I'm writing it, I couldn't step into the story anymore, because I couldn't do that. And that made it a little bit harder. So I was kind of sad to see her lose that relatability, because she was a new and exciting Bella, but she wasn't a Bella I could be. And it was a little bit sad for me, but I wanted her to have that ending. It was important to me. So I was happy for her, but we just weren't as close as we had been before. It was really weird.
Our last question of the night. Why did you choose to end this series after the 4th book?
I put that one right after the first one, because the answer is the same. I knew that this wasn't going to be the same story once Bella was a vampire, and it wasn't going to be the same experience. So after her story was resolved in that way, I feel like it's told. There are series that can go on forever and ever, but I feel like it'd be really unnatural to prolong Bella's story that way, and I didn't want to ruin the story arc. You know, when a story goes the right direction, for me it's very visual and I can see the shape of it. Every book has a different shape, and as a whole, these 4 books, this was the right shape for them. So it was the right place to end, and it doesn't mean that I'm done, because there are a whole lot of stories in my head. But this story just has reached its natural conclusion, and I wouldn't want to ruin that.